Are we okay? We got the fucking... We've got to do the fucking shit that we need for fucking drug abuse.
Sean here. We're going to talk about Lorne's anger. There's another video I'm going to be putting out, and it contributes to his anger. I want to dig deep into this because it is a deep-seated problem. And when you have somebody like him who's used to it, addicted to it, it's comfortable in that pocket, as I've said before, because his rage is his go-to emotion, because he doesn't want to deal with real problems. That's just the way he is. Anytime a situation comes up that a hard decision is necessary, he's going to negate it, he's going to skirt around it, and he's just going to go straight on rage, and he's going to do that, yeah, well, and when Ramona says, look at how you're behaving, he's going to go, look at how you're behaving, because he's as immature as it gets. Let's imagine for a moment that you're in a relationship, a serious one, and you've moved into the trailer of failure. You're dealing with a guy with an addiction to one of the most powerful emotions that a human being can have. It is a fire. The destruction it can cause, it's immeasurable because it is that powerful. With Lorne and his rooted issues he's constantly dealing with, his inability to process anything, grow up, or take responsibility, all feeds this fire. The first thing you're going to have to do is be the fireman. You're going to have to educate yourself, become wise, whatever you want to call it, intelligent, knowledgeable, in how to deal with someone like this. Because if you're not, you will not be equipped. And if you really care about this person, which we know nobody would care about Lorne, but if you really care about this person, it would be a good idea for you to figure out, how can I help? How can I calm this down so that we can live a normal life or a semi-normal life? Anger's still going to be there in your relationship. It's in every relationship. But how can I get this raging fire into a campfire? Anger is an emotion that stems from hurt, rejection, and they need a lot of love because they always feel left out and alone. I told you I was the class clown. I was really outgoing. I had a lot of girlfriends. I became one of, if not the most popular kid in my school. And it's because I was unpredictable. I was friendly. I was funny. But when I crashed, I wanted to prove something to everyone. I had a giant chip on my shoulder, probably because I was adopted. I don't know why, but I do remember feeling a bit of rejection from that. And again, that's a huge, huge issue. Lorne was abandoned. I was adopted, which is also a form of abandonment, but they did it because they loved me and I had a better life. You always hear, if you change your outlook on life, if you focus on the positive, good things will follow. That's true, but it takes hard work. And for someone with anger to change, they have to be able to look at themselves, take a look in the mirror and say, what am I doing that's causing this? And he won't, because it's an inconvenience. Because he's lazy. Which is why, again, he tells Ramona, look at how you're behaving, which he's trying to call him out on that psychotic behavior he exhibited during the Ramona saga. So how do you deal with being with somebody like Mr. Penis? Well, the first thing is you have to learn how to manage it. And it's tricky. It is a minefield. You have to be careful where you step, you have to be careful what you say, and you have to be aware of their mood at all times, at least in the beginning. If you start to make some progress, you might see an improvement. But you'll still be on guard because you could step on one of those mines at any moment and boom, he's going to go crazy. That sound effect was terrible. If you are willing and able to try and help them calm down, trust is the main issue. You'll help them understand that, look, I know you have a problem. I'm not going to leave you right now because of that problem. Because Lorne, when he gets angry, he knows his behavior is wrong, which is, I did so wrong, when he calls and he wants to apologize. That only amplifies his insecurity. That only amplifies his belief that they're cheating on him. the negativity that comes from being in a relationship with a rage monster, it's another thing that can't be measured. It takes a lot of patience, love, and understanding. You have to really assure them, look, I know you have this issue, and I don't want you to be mad about it. And it's not something that makes you different. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's just an emotion that you feel. Some people feel sad. Some people feel way too happy. And yours just happens to be anger. And I know that anger stems from things that have happened to you in your past. But we're going to move forward. You and me. I want you to understand you can trust me, and I have faith that you're going to change. Those are some things you could say to try to help. It may not. We're talking to Lorne here, so probably not. But if you do everything that you possibly can, if you give all of your effort, you do everything you can to show them that you love them, that's all you can ask. So how do you deal with that raging fire? You are an experienced fireman. That's how you should approach it. Be calm, cool, collected. Maintain your composure. You don't want to allow them to get into the pocket. You don't want to put your gloves on and start trading in the knockout zone with them, because that's where they're comfortable. That's where they want to be. And with Lorne, if he could stay in that little pocket and blame everything else on the world, think of his trailer as this little square. Now think of everything on the outside. That's the reason to him on why he is the way he is. When in reality, inside of that little square, that's where his anger issues stem from. Maybe he put a little square around his mom's house. But other than that, oh, and a Bud Light case. Wherever the Bud Light case is down at the Circle K, boom, put it right there. That's all Lorne has. Because if he was to look inside that little square where he lives, he would have to see the truth. But it's easier to look on the outside. So your job, you're going to have to take the raging fire that is him. He's burning his own little square down, metaphorically, of course. He's burning it down. And you have to help him from completely self-destructing, imploding, whatever you want to call it. Maintain your calm. Maintain your composure. That's the only way to handle a full-on rage episode. If you asked me why you stay calm, it's a pretty simple answer. You want them to tire themselves out. You want them to realize, look at me, I'm the one yelling and screaming, and the person across from me is calm. What am I doing? They're obviously not mad, so why am I mad? There are a number of questions that they will ask themselves, whether it be knowingly or subconsciously, but you have to stay calm. And if you do get in the pocket, reel it back. Don't explode. Now, if they get up in your face and they're screaming, it's time for you to ignore everything I've been saying, and it's time for you to leave. That's just my opinion. You want to stay with a guy who intimidates you, he gets up in your face, he's screaming at you. How long is it going to be before he closes that distance? How long is it going to be before Lorne closes that distance? I'd say approximately one more time, because he'll keep pushing it, getting closer and closer, and then the hands will get on you. Maybe on your shoulder or your arm when you try to leave. And it'll get worse. And I think we all know that. But I'm just telling you, stay calm. Don't get in the pocket and don't engage. This is something I never thought I would say about Lorne. Now, Winnie would need to take a look at her own behavior. Is there anything that you're doing? Is there anything you're doing that sparks this fire, that provokes them? Winnie does a lot to provoke Lorne, or did a lot. Come on, man. Lick it. Look. Not only that, but she'd be telling him about her coke and people seeing her naked and inferring that she was cheating on him and then taking it back. It would be a hellish existence, but because Lorne knows that anger is his go-to response and it's been normal for him forever, that's fine. And in some ways, I think Lorne might have loved that about Winnie. There was nothing else to love about Winnie, except for us who, it's me, Winnie, yeah. But other than that, she was a disaster on the same level as he was. I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I'm not trying to lecture them. But remember, we are responsible for our own actions. not theirs. If we need to change our behavior, our attitude, or we need to apologize, we just do it and we move on. They can't. They need coaching. They need help. And sometimes they need a good verbal smack to the face. Just do it calmly. I need you to be honest with yourself. I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you at the point where you're having to cover up for your spouse, boyfriend/husband, fiance, for their actions towards other people, especially family members? Ramona was trying that on her call with the therapist in Bro, trying to make excuses for Lorne. If you're a real human being, then you know what that feels like when you're watching somebody else struggle for something they didn't even do. Say they offend one of your family members or your friends. Do you go to that person afterwards and you start giving excuses and you start, quote unquote, explaining that they didn't really mean it, they were just having a bad day, things have been going really rough at work? If you find yourself doing that, you're at a fork in the road, because you're pretty far along the process in which they may not be able to change. And that's okay. You just have to be strong enough to recognize it and move on if you have to. The issue is, especially with Lorne, he hasn't learned and he will never learn to take the full force of his consequences. Anything you do in that marriage will be your fault. Anything that he does in that marriage will be your fault. You have to be with someone who can understand that I am paying for what I did. She is now sleeping on the couch. She's staying with her mom because of what I did. But Lorne, if you'll excuse my language, when he gets mad, she's got me all fucked up, that fucking cunt. Didn't even realize, didn't even care that he put himself in those kinds of situations where he's crying and raging and blaming. So if you have a partner like that and they don't understand that their actions have consequences, you probably need to move on. The only way you can deal with them is you have to figure out, what are you willing to tolerate? What will you allow or not allow? You have to tell them, set your boundaries, and you have to set up a wall. Like Donald Trump, set your wall up on that border, and you have to let them know you're not going to cross. You're not going to cross it. So I put this up. This is where you end, buddy. This is where your behavior ends. This is what I will tolerate, and this is what you're allowed to do. Verbalize expectations. Treat them like an employee if you have to. Verbalize expectations. Corrective feedback. Distance yourself a little if you need to, but not enough where they think, you're cheating on me. Don't try and tell me you ain't slutting. You're not selfish. If you set those boundaries, if you set expectations that will help you maintain a healthy happiness, you're not selfish. You're doing what is right. Being selfish for Lorne is a way of life. Something he has grown up with his entire life. Now he knows it's wrong, and he only admits it when there are real consequences. He doesn't want to ever face consequences. They are an inconvenience. So what you need to do is make sure you're living a good life. Keep those boundaries up. Don't let him cross the line. Because with Lorne, he's habitual. He's a habitual line stepper, to quote Charlie Murphy. So set your boundaries. Make sure they know what those boundaries are. And make sure there are some changes in their behavior after you've set those boundaries. Because if not, you may have to sit them down again and explain it. Look, I gave you this, and I mean, come on, Ramona. She gave him all those restrictions. He broke them all within a day. Imagine what it would be like to live with him when he could lock the windows and doors and keep you a prisoner. I don't know you all personally, but I do know in the chat I've seen, at least what you present, good people. A lot of these streamers, they get angry at the right things. They laugh at some of the right things, and maybe what Winnie does. But what Lorne does, unless it's something drunken and embarrassing, we usually don't laugh. We just go, God, this guy. Don't do what these catfish women did. You deserve better. Don't tolerate abuse or belittling, verbal, mental, physical. You deserve better than to tolerate that bullshit. Taking that over and over, you're giving them the golden ticket. You're saying, hey, this is okay. This is what I'm willing to accept. And in their head, well, if I don't take it too far, everything will be fine. You didn't tell me it wasn't okay. Look at Lorne with the, why did you encourage me to drink call? Why didn't you stop me from doing this? 15 years into your marriage to this guy, he's pummeling you, and you finally say, enough. Lorne, you're abusing me. Well, why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you tell me? I respect women. I was raised by mom. Did you beat your mom, Lorne? Because obviously you must have, if you think this is the way to treat women. Don't tolerate it. Don't let it continue. If you're in that relationship now, get out. Get out safely. Read up on how to get out safely. Surround yourself with people that will help you get out safely. Because he may be too far gone. And don't think I'm just talking about men. I'm talking about women as well. I'm going to try to wrap this up. Now, you can choose to be compassionate. You can choose to understand that that anger comes from hurt, rejection, and insecurities from whatever happened to them in their past, as he always blames it. You can do this, but if it's deep-seated anger issues and you're not making any progress, move on. You have to give them a sense of emotional security. Not like Lorne says you would be doing everything in your power to make me feel secure. It's their responsibility to feel secure. If you want to help that, emotionally is the best way to do it. Because when you start giving into their demands to make them feel secure about a relationship or your behavior, it's time to move on. Don't hesitate to get help. Professionally, you might not be able to get them into couples counseling, but you can try. You could at least get in to help yourself, get some advice, life coaches, whoever you want. Doesn't have to be a psych. You can seek out help and you can get advice on how do I deal with this and is it worth staying at all? Because eventually depression, guilt, blame, all of that stuff can come bite you in the ass because of what you're dealing with. And soon you'll be dealing with your own flood of emotions while his fire rages on of anger. And eventually they're going to come together. Boom, it's just going to be a big puff of smoke. And everything's going to be extinguished. You're either going to get out clean or it's going to be a huge, messy breakup or divorce or separation. So you need to, again, get help. Find out where you're at. Do a self-assessment. Just do something and figure out whether or not a Lorne Armstrong is worth it. Never forget who you are. Don't ever lose yourself. That's the one thing I want to leave you with. Don't lose yourself. Because that is a danger of living with an angry partner. Having to change your entire way of life around this monster. Please don't do it. Stay true to yourself. And if your partner is suffering from anger issues and you're trying to deal with them, do what I said as much as it makes sense to you. Give it a try. If it doesn't work, move on. Because Lorne Armstrong and people like him are not going to change without a lot of help. I love you guys. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next one.
Yeah,